Hey, tonight maybe your heart feels more exhausted than your body does. Maybe all day long you stayed busy so you would not have to sit alone with your thoughts for too long. You answered messages. You handled responsibilities. You smiled during conversations, even while something deep inside you quietly felt tired beyond words. And now the night has finally become still around you. The noise from the world has faded. The lights outside your window feel softer now. Everything is slower, but your mind is still awake, still carrying thoughts your heart never truly got a chance to release. Maybe you try to sleep already, but your chest still feels heavy tonight. Maybe your thoughts keep moving from one worry to another while the rest of the world slowly drifts into rest. And if that is true, then tonight this peaceful moment is for you. Right now, you do not need to solve every problem waiting for tomorrow. You do not need to carry every burden through the entire night. Just breathe slowly for a moment. Let your shoulders relax. Let your heartbeat settle little by little. Because tonight is not about pressure. Tonight is about rest. Outside the window, distant street lights glow softly beneath the dark sky, while cool wind moves gently through sleeping trees. Somewhere far away, rain quietly falls over empty roads while most of the world rests peacefully in warm beds. And as your breathing slowly becomes calmer, imagine yourself standing far away from every stressful thing you carried today. Imagine cool night air touching your skin while endless stars shine softly above you. A quiet forest surrounds you now. Tall trees move gently in the wind while moonlight spills silver light across a peaceful lake nearby. The water stretches endlessly through the darkness, calm and still like the world itself finally slowed down for the night. Everything here feels softer somehow, safer, like this peaceful place has been waiting for you all along. Then far ahead between the trees, you notice something glowing softly in the distance. A warm golden light shines through the windows of a small cabin resting quietly beside the lake. Smoke rises slowly from the chimney while rain clouds drift lazily above the forest. And somehow before you even take your first step toward it, your heart already knows this place was meant for you tonight. So slowly, while the heavy world behind you begins fading farther and farther away, you start walking toward the warm light beside the peaceful water, feeling your tired soul becoming calmer with every step through the quiet night. The closer you move toward the cabin, the quieter your thoughts begin to feel inside your mind. Earlier tonight, your chest felt heavy with overthinking and pressure, but now those worries slowly begin fading into the background while the peaceful sounds around you grow stronger. The soft movement of water beside the shore, the wind brushing gently through the tall trees overhead, the quiet crunch of leaves beneath your feet as you continue walking through the moonlit forest. Everything here feels untouched by stress, untouched by noise. Like this peaceful little world exists far away from every painful thing waiting outside tonight. The warm glow from the cabin windows grows brighter as you move closer. Golden light spills softly through the trees while thin smoke drifts lazily upward into the dark sky above. Somewhere far away, thunder rolls quietly across distant mountains, and the smell of fresh rain moves gently through the cool night air. But even the storm feels peaceful here somehow, comforting, like the whole night was created only to help tired hearts finally rest. Soon you reach a small wooden bridge crossing over a narrow stream beside the cabin. Moonlight reflects beautifully across the moving water below, while tiny ripples shimmer softly through the darkness. You stop for a moment in the middle of the bridge and look around slowly. The lake stretches peacefully beneath the stars. Trees sway gently in the wind. The cabin glows warmly ahead of you like the safest place in the world. And standing there in the quiet middle of the night, something deep inside your chest finally begins to loosen. Because maybe you are more emotionally tired than you allowed yourself to admit lately. Tired of carrying pressure nobody fully understands. Tired of pretending you are okay during the moments your heart secretly feels overwhelmed. Tired of overthinking everything long after everybody else has fallen asleep. You take another slow breath before continuing toward the cabin porch. The wooden steps creak softly beneath your feet while rain finally begins falling lightly around the forest. Tiny drops tap gently against the roof overhead while cool wind moves through the pine trees nearby. Warm light spills beneath the cabin door, wrapping around you before you even step inside. Then, just as you slowly lift your hand toward the door, it quietly opens on its own. Firelight glows warmly through the peaceful room beyond it. Candles flicker softly across wooden shelves filled with old books while thick blankets rest beside a comfortable chair near the fireplace. Everything about this place feels calm and welcoming. But what makes your heart stop for a moment is the peaceful figure sitting quietly beside the fire. Jesus looks toward you gently, almost like he has been waiting for you all along tonight. There is no judgment in his eyes, no disappointment, only calm understanding, the kind that reaches every hidden, exhausted part of your soul nobody else truly sees. And while rain continues falling softly outside the cabin windows, something deep inside your chest finally begins relaxing, because for the first time tonight, you truly feel safe. Jesus smiles softly as you step inside the cabin and close the door behind you. Warmth immediately surrounds your body, melting away the cold you carried through the dark forest outside. Rain taps gently against the windows while the fire crackles softly nearby, filling the room with peaceful golden light. The entire cabin smells like burning wood, warm blankets, old books, and fresh rain drifting through the night air. Everything feels calm here. The kind of calmness your soul has been searching for without even realizing it. Jesus gestures gently toward the chair beside the fireplace, inviting you to sit and rest for a while. No pressure, no difficult questions, just rest. You slowly move toward the chair and sink into the soft cushion beneath the thick, warm blanket resting there. Heat from the fire touches your hands and face while your tired body slowly begins relaxing deeper into the comfort surrounding you. Outside, rain continues falling softly across the lake and trees beyond the windows. But inside the cabin, everything feels protected from the storm, safe from the noise of the world, safe from every heavy thought you carried before arriving here tonight. You lean back slowly and stare into the peaceful flames dancing inside the fireplace. Earlier, your thoughts felt loud and restless, but now your mind slowly begins settling into the quiet warmth around you. The sadness sitting inside your chest no longer feels impossible to carry here. Somehow, this peaceful place makes everything feel lighter. Jesus sits across from you in comfortable silence for a while, simply watching the fire while allowing the room to stay calm and quiet. But the silence does not feel uncomfortable. It feels healing, like your soul is finally being allowed to breathe after holding too much inside for too long. Rain moves gently across the cabin roof, while wind brushes softly through the trees outside. Every sound around you blends together into something peaceful enough to make your eyes begin feeling heavy. Then, after a long, quiet moment, Jesus finally speaks softly. You do not have to hide how tired you are anymore. His voice is calm and steady, the kind that instantly quiets fear the moment you hear it. You stare into the fire without answering, because deep down you know he is right. Lately, you really have been exhausted in ways most people never noticed. Not just physically, emotionally too. Tired of carrying stress nobody understands. Tired of trying to stay strong every single day. Tired of acting okay even during the moments your heart quietly felt overwhelmed and alone. Memories slowly drift through your mind while the fire glows warmly beside you. Lonely nights, hard conversations, silent disappointments, moments when you wished someone would notice you were struggling without needing you to explain it first. And somehow Jesus already understands every hidden part of it. You were never meant to carry all of this by yourself. He says gently while rain continues falling outside the windows. Hearing those words makes something inside your chest finally soften, because maybe for the first time in a very long while, you truly believe you do not have to survive the darkness alone anymore. The storm outside slowly drifts farther across the mountains while the cabin grows even quieter and warmer around you. Rain still taps softly against the windows, but now it sounds more distant somehow. Softer. The fire beside you burns steadily, filling the room with a peaceful glow that dances gently across the wooden walls and shelves. You pull the blanket slightly closer around yourself and settle deeper into the chair while your body slowly sinks into the warmth. For the first time in what feels like forever, there is nowhere else you need to be tonight. No pressure waiting for you. No expectations demanding your energy. No need to keep pretending everything is fine. Just this peaceful moment beside the fire while the world outside finally becomes still. Jesus remains seated nearby, calm and patient, allowing silence to rest comfortably between you both. Somehow his presence alone makes the room feel safer. Like all the fear and heaviness you carried earlier cannot fully reach you here anymore. You close your eyes for a few moments and simply listen. Rain against the roof, firewood cracking softly, wind moving through the trees near the lake outside. Your breathing slowly becoming deeper and calmer with every passing minute. The tension in your shoulders begins easing little by little while your thoughts continue settling into the peaceful quiet surrounding you. Sitting there in the warmth of the cabin, you slowly begin realizing how long you have been carrying emotional weight without truly letting yourself rest. You spent so much time trying to survive difficult days that you forgot how to slow down. You kept showing up for everyone else, even while your own heart quietly felt exhausted inside. You smiled through painful moments. You hid sadness during conversations. You convinced yourself that if you just kept moving forward, eventually things would stop hurting. But late at night, when everything became quiet, the heaviness always returned. The loneliness, the overthinking, the silent fear that maybe nobody truly understood how tired you were becoming inside. Yet somehow Jesus understands all of it without you needing to explain a single thing. He sees every hidden wound, every sleepless night, every tear you wiped away before anyone noticed. And instead of making you feel weak for it, he makes you feel safe enough to finally stop pretending. After another peaceful silence, Jesus looks softly toward the fire before speaking again. Some people become so used to carrying pain that they forget what peace feels like, he says quietly. The words settle deep inside your chest because part of you knows exactly what he means. Maybe your mind really has been stuck in survival mode for too long. Maybe your heart became so familiar with stress that rest started feeling strange. But tonight, something inside you is slowly changing. Not all at once, not perfectly, but gently. like clouds slowly clearing after days of rain. Your thoughts are calmer now. Your chest feels lighter. Even the sadness that followed you into the night no longer feels quite as heavy as before. You open your eyes again and watch the fire while sleep slowly begins pulling at the edges of your thoughts. The warmth of the cabin surrounds you completely now, and for the first time in a long time, your soul feels like it finally found somewhere safe enough to truly rest. Outside the windows, the rain slowly begins fading while clouds drift gently away from the moon hanging high above the lake. Silver moonlight reflects peacefully across the calm water and slips softly through the cabin glass, mixing beautifully with the warm glow from the fire. Everything around you feels slower now, softer. The storm that once filled the night has nearly passed, leaving behind only the quiet sound of rain dripping from the trees outside. You remain curled beneath the blanket while the warmth from the fire settles deeply into your tired body. Your eyes feel heavier now, but not from sadness anymore, from comfort, from finally allowing yourself to relax after carrying too much for too long. Jesus sits quietly nearby while the room stays peaceful around you both. He does not rush the moment. He does not ask you to explain every painful memory hiding inside your heart. Somehow he already understands the things you never found words for. You glance toward the nearby window where tiny drops of rain slide slowly down the glass. The world outside looks beautiful tonight in a quiet, forgotten way. Calm water, dark trees moving softly in the wind, moonlight stretching endlessly across the lake. It feels like the kind of night made for healing tired souls. Slowly your thoughts drift back through old memories again, but this time they do not hurt as sharply. Nights when you felt completely alone, days when you smiled even while your heart quietly ached inside. Moments when life became overwhelming and you stayed silent because you did not know how to ask for help. Yet sitting here beside the fire changes something about those memories. Because for once you are not carrying them alone. Jesus looks toward you gently before speaking again. You do not always have to be strong, he says softly. Even tired hearts deserve somewhere safe to rest. Hearing those words makes your chest tighten slightly, not from pain this time, but from relief. Maybe deep down you really have needed permission to rest for a very long time. Permission to stop carrying every burden alone. Permission to breathe without feeling guilty for slowing down. Outside, wind moves softly through the trees while the lake shines peacefully beneath the moonlight. Inside, the fire continues glowing warmly while your thoughts drift slower and slower toward sleep. The pressure from earlier feels far away now, almost like another life completely. You sink deeper beneath the blanket and close your eyes for a moment while the peaceful sounds around you blend together softly. Rain, fire, wind, silence, and somewhere within all of it, the calm, steady presence of Jesus beside you, watching over your tired heart while it finally begins letting go of the heaviness it carried for far too long tonight. Your eyes stay closed for a few peaceful moments while the warmth of the cabin settles deeper into your body. The fire continues burning softly nearby, filling the room with a steady golden glow that makes everything feel calm and safe. Outside, the rain has almost completely stopped now. Only a few drops fall from the trees near the lake, while cool wind moves gently through the quiet forest. The storm that once filled the sky earlier tonight feels far away now, almost like it belonged to another world completely. Slowly you open your eyes again and stare into the fire while your thoughts drift more softly than before. Earlier tonight your mind felt loud and restless. Every worry seemed heavy. Every emotion felt close to the surface. But sitting here now beside Jesus, wrapped in warmth while the world grows quiet around you, your heart finally feels like it can breathe again. Jesus notices the calmness slowly returning to your face and gives you a small, peaceful smile. He leans back comfortably in his chair while the firelight flickers softly across the room. You do not always have to carry everything alone, he says gently. His voice is quiet, almost blending into the crackling fire itself. Sometimes people become so used to struggling that they forget rest was always meant to be part of life too. You stare at the flames for a moment while those words settle deeply inside your chest. Maybe that really has happened to you. Maybe you became so focused on surviving difficult days that you forgot your soul needed peace too. Needed quiet. Needed moments like this where nothing is expected from you. The cabin feels even warmer now while sleep slowly begins settling into your body like soft waves moving across calm water. You pull the blanket slightly higher around your shoulders and glance toward the nearby window. Moonlight reflects beautifully across the lake outside, while thin clouds drift slowly through the stars above. The whole night looks softer now, kinder somehow. Jesus slowly stands from his chair and walks toward the cabin door again, holding a small lantern in one hand while warm light moves gently through the room. Then he looks back toward you. Come with me, he says softly. There is no pressure in his voice, only calmness. You rise quietly from the chair and follow him once more out into the cool, peaceful night. The air smells fresh after the rain. The grass feels slightly damp beneath your feet while stars shine brightly overhead. Together you walk slowly beside the lake again while the lantern glows warmly between you. The world feels completely still now except for the soft sound of water touching the shore nearby. And as you continue walking through the peaceful darkness beside Jesus, your heart keeps growing lighter with every step, like something heavy is finally beginning to slip away from your soul tonight. The path curves gently away from the cabin and leads deeper along the edge of the quiet lake, where tall trees stretch high into the moonlit sky. Moonlight slips softly through the branches overhead, while the lantern in Jesus' hand lights the narrow trail beneath your feet with warm golden light. Everything around you feels peaceful in a way that almost seems unreal. No loud thoughts. No pressure sitting heavily in your chest anymore. Just the quiet sound of your footsteps beside the water and the cool night air brushing gently through the forest. You walk beside Jesus without needing to say anything. Somehow the silence between you feels comforting instead of awkward, safe instead of lonely. After a while, you notice a small wooden bench resting beneath a large tree near the edge of the lake. The wood looks old and weathered, like it has been there for many years watching over the calm water. Jesus walks toward it and quietly sits down, motioning gently for you to sit beside him. You lower yourself onto the bench while the lantern rests nearby, casting soft golden light across the grass around your feet. The lake stretches peacefully in front of you, reflecting thousands of stars across its dark silver surface. Somewhere in the distance, water moves softly against rocks near the shoreline. Everything feels calm enough to make time itself seem slower here. You pull the blanket tighter around yourself and let out a quiet breath you did not even realize you were holding. Jesus looks out across the peaceful lake for a few moments before finally speaking softly. A tired heart needs more than sleep, he says. It needs peace too. His words drift gently through the cool night air while you continue staring at the water. Deep down, you know exactly what he means. There have been nights when your body felt exhausted, but your mind still refused to rest. Nights when worry stayed awake long after the world had gone quiet. Nights when loneliness felt heavier than anything else. Jesus glances toward you with understanding in his eyes. You have been carrying things silently for a long time, he says gently. And after a while, silence can start feeling heavy too. Hearing those words makes your chest tighten slightly because they feel painfully true. Maybe part of your exhaustion came from never saying how tired you really were, from always trying to stay strong even during the moments you felt close to breaking apart inside. The wind moves softly through the trees above while moonlight dances peacefully across the water in front of you. Everything about the night feels gentle now. Safe. You sit quietly beside Jesus while the lantern flickers near the bench and slowly, for the first time in a very long while, your heart begins understanding that rest is not weakness. Rest is healing. Rest is allowing yourself to stop carrying everything alone for one peaceful night. For a long peaceful, while neither of you says anything. You both simply sit beside the lake while the quiet night stretches endlessly around you. The stars above seem brighter now that the storm clouds are gone, and their reflection across the water makes the whole lake shimmer softly in the darkness. The cool wind brushing through the trees no longer feels cold against your skin. It feels refreshing somehow. Calm. You lean back slightly against the wooden bench and close your eyes for a moment while the sounds around you blend together gently. Water touching the shore, leaves moving softly overhead. The quiet, steady breathing of the world finally slowing down for the night. Somewhere deep inside your chest, the tightness you carried earlier continues loosening little by little. Jesus remains beside you quietly, allowing you to simply rest in the silence before he finally speaks again. People spend so much time worrying about tomorrow, he says softly, that they forget they are allowed to rest tonight. You slowly open your eyes and stare across the peaceful lake while those words settle deeply into your thoughts. Maybe that is true for you too. Maybe lately your mind has been living too far ahead, always worrying about what could go wrong next, always trying to prepare yourself for problems that have not even happened yet. And because of that, peace slowly disappeared without you even noticing. Jesus lowers his eyes toward the lantern glowing near your feet before continuing quietly. Fear has a way of making tired hearts believe they must always stay alert, he says. Always ready, always guarded. But peace begins when you finally realize you do not have to carry every tomorrow by yourself. The words make your breathing slow even more. You look down at your hands resting beneath the blanket and realize how long your body has been holding tension without rest. Even during sleep, your heart kept trying to protect itself from stress, disappointment, loneliness, and pressure. But tonight feels different. Tonight, your soul finally feels safe enough to stop fighting for a little while. A shooting star suddenly moves across the sky above the lake, disappearing behind the dark trees on the other side of the water. You quietly watch it while a small, peaceful smile appears on your face without even trying. Jesus notices and smiles softly too. See, he says gently, even the night knows how to let go. The wind moves softly through the branches again, while moonlight continues dancing across the water. Everything around you feels softer now, lighter. Your thoughts no longer feel tangled together the way they did earlier tonight. The sadness in your chest is still there somewhere, but it no longer feels sharp enough to hurt the same way. Instead, it feels distant, quiet. And while you continue sitting beside Jesus beneath the endless stars, listening to the peaceful sounds of the lake around you, your tired heart slowly begins learning how to rest without fear again. After sitting beside the lake for a long, peaceful while, Jesus slowly stands from the bench and gently picks up the lantern once again. The soft golden light moves through the darkness while he looks toward a narrow trail leading deeper through the forest beside the water. "Come," he says quietly, and you rise slowly to follow him once more through the calm, peaceful night. The forest feels even quieter now than before. Rainwater still clings to the leaves overhead, while moonlight slips softly through the branches, creating silver patterns along the narrow path beneath your feet. You walk beside Jesus slowly, listening to the soft crunch of leaves and the distant sound of the lake fading behind the trees. The deeper you move into the forest, the farther away the heavy world outside begins to feel. No phones, no pressure, no noise demanding your attention. Just the quiet night and the steady warmth of the lantern moving gently beside you. After a few peaceful minutes, the trail opens into a small clearing surrounded by tall pine trees. In the center of the clearing rests a tiny stream flowing gently over smooth stones beneath the moonlight. The water sparkles softly while the peaceful sound instantly calms something deep inside your chest. Jesus kneels beside the stream and sets the lantern down near the edge of the water. You move beside him quietly while cool air drifts gently through the clearing. "Listen carefully," he says softly. At first you hear only the stream moving over the rocks. But after a moment you notice something else too. Silence. Real silence. Not the empty kind that feels lonely, but the peaceful kind that allows your heart to finally rest. Jesus smiles gently while watching the water flow beneath the moonlight. "The world teaches people to keep running," he says quietly. "But healing often begins when someone finally slows down long enough to hear peace again." You stare at the stream while his words move softly through your thoughts. Maybe you really have been running emotionally for too long. Running from stress, running from fear, running from painful thoughts you did not want to sit alone with during quiet nights. But here in this peaceful clearing beneath the stars, none of those things feel powerful anymore. The water continues flowing gently over the stones without rushing, without forcing itself forward. And somehow watching it makes your own heart feel calmer too. Jesus lightly dips his hand into the stream before looking toward you again. "You are allowed to rest," he says softly. "You are allowed to slow down." Hearing those words feels different tonight, more real somehow, because for the first time in a very long while, your soul actually believes them. The cool wind moves softly through the pine trees while moonlight reflects beautifully across the peaceful stream beside you. And standing there in the quiet clearing next to Jesus, your heart continues growing calmer with every passing moment. The clearing remains peaceful except for the gentle sound of water flowing through the stream beside you. The lantern glows softly near the rocks while cool night air drifts through the tall pine trees surrounding the clearing. Everything feels calm now in a way that almost seems impossible compared to how heavy your heart felt earlier tonight. You kneel beside the stream for a moment and watch the water move steadily over the smooth stones. It does not rush. It does not fight itself. It simply flows peacefully through the darkness beneath the moonlight. Somehow that simple sound begins calming the last restless parts of your mind. Jesus remains beside you quietly while the forest around you grows even stiller. After a while, he looks toward the sky above the trees and speaks softly again. "A heart cannot heal while constantly carrying fear," he says. "At some point it needs peace more than pressure." You slowly lower your eyes toward the moving water while those words settle deeply inside you. Maybe fear really has been exhausting you more than you realized. Fear about tomorrow, fear about things changing, fear of disappointment, fear of being alone with your thoughts at night. You carried all of it silently for so long that your heart forgot what calmness even felt like anymore. But tonight, that heaviness is finally beginning to fade. Not all at once, not perfectly, but enough for your soul to breathe again. Jesus reaches down and lightly touches the surface of the stream, sending small ripples across the moonlit water. Peace does not always arrive loudly, he says gently. Sometimes it comes quietly, little by little. You watch the ripples slowly spread through the water until they disappear into the darkness downstream. And somehow that feels exactly like what is happening inside you right now. The tension in your chest has softened. Your thoughts have slowed down. Even your breathing feels calmer than it has in a very long time. The forest around you remains silent except for the stream and the soft movement of wind through the trees overhead. Everything about this moment feels gentle, healing, safe. Jesus slowly stands and picks up the lantern once more before looking toward the trail leading back through the woods. It is getting late, he says softly with a small, peaceful smile. You glance toward the sky and realize he is right. The moon has moved higher above the trees while the night grows deeper and quieter around you. Sleepiness settles heavier into your body now, warm and comforting instead of restless and anxious. You take one last look at the peaceful stream flowing through the clearing before following Jesus back onto the forest trail once again. The lantern light moves softly through the darkness ahead while the forest stays calm around you. And as you walk beside him through the quiet night, your heart feels lighter than it has in a very long time. The trail through the forest feels softer now as you walk beside Jesus beneath the quiet midnight sky. The lantern in his hand sways gently with every slow step, sending warm golden light across the peaceful path ahead while cool wind drifts through the tall pine trees around you. Somewhere nearby, water still moves quietly through the darkness, and every sound around you feels calm enough to quiet even the deepest parts of your mind. Earlier tonight, your thoughts were loud and restless. One worry pulled you toward the next without stopping, but now your heart feels slower somehow, lighter. The pressure you carried into the night no longer feels wrapped tightly around your chest. You breathe deeply and notice how fresh the air smells after the rain. Wet earth, pine trees, cool night wind. Everything feels clean and still, like the world itself finally decided to rest for a while. Jesus walks beside you in comfortable silence while the peaceful forest stretches endlessly around both of you. Somehow the silence no longer feels lonely tonight. It feels safe. The kind of silence that allows tired hearts to finally stop fighting for a little while. After some time, the trees begin thinning, and the narrow trail slowly rises uphill toward a wide overlook above the lake. Moonlight spreads beautifully across the calm water below, while thousands of stars shimmer softly overhead. The sight instantly makes your chest feel lighter. Jesus stops near the edge of the hill while the lantern glows warmly beside him in the grass. You stand quietly next to him, looking out across the peaceful lake while cool wind brushes gently against your face. Everything feels far away from up here. The stress, the noise, the pressure you carried before tonight. It all feels smaller somehow beneath the endless night sky. Jesus keeps his eyes on the lake for a few quiet moments before speaking softly. There were nights you felt invisible, he says gently. Nights you smiled for everyone else while quietly falling apart inside. Hearing those words makes something deep inside your chest ache for a moment because you know exactly what he means. There really were nights like that. Nights when your room felt painfully quiet. Nights when you wished somebody would notice how exhausted your heart had become without needing you to explain it first. Jesus turns slightly toward you, his expression calm and understanding in the soft lantern light. But I saw every moment, he says quietly, every tear you hid, every night you stayed awake, carrying things nobody else knew about. The words settled deeply into your heart while wind moves softly through the grass around you. Maybe the hardest part about pain was believing nobody truly understood it. Yet standing here beside him beneath the stars, you slowly realize you were never completely alone during those dark nights after all. The lake below moves gently beneath the moonlight, while the peaceful forest surrounds the hill in silence. And as you continue standing there beside Jesus, breathing in the cool night air, your tired soul slowly begins letting go of the loneliness it carried for far too long. For a little while, neither of you says anything. You simply remain together at the top of the hill, while stars reflect across the quiet lake below like scattered silver lights. The wind feels cooler here, but the blanket around your shoulders keeps you warm while the lantern beside Jesus flickers softly in the darkness. You take another slow breath and realize your chest no longer feels as tight as it did earlier tonight. The constant tension that followed you through every difficult day and every sleepless night has finally started loosening its grip. Everything inside you feels calmer now, softer somehow. Jesus notices the peaceful stillness slowly settling over your face and gives you a small, gentle smile before continuing down the narrow trail leading away from the overlook. You quietly follow beside him while the forest around you grows quieter with every step. The deeper into the night you walk, the more distant the heavy world behind you seems to become. After several peaceful minutes, the trail opens into a wide field covered in tall grass, swaying softly beneath the moonlight. Fireflies drift lazily through the air like tiny floating stars while crickets sing quietly somewhere beyond the trees. The sight instantly awakens something peaceful and childlike inside your chest. In the middle of the field stands an old wooden swing hanging from a large oak tree whose branches stretch high into the midnight sky. The ropes move gently in the wind while moonlight filters softly through the leaves overhead. Jesus walks toward the swing and lightly touches one of the ropes before looking back at you with calm understanding in his eyes. Sit for a while, he says softly. You slowly lower yourself onto the swing while he remains nearby beside the lantern. The wood creaks quietly beneath you as the swing begins moving back and forth in slow, peaceful motions. The feeling instantly calms your entire body. For the first time in what feels like forever, your mind becomes completely still. No racing thoughts, no pressure, just cool wind brushing softly through the field and the peaceful sound of grass moving around you. Jesus watches the fireflies glowing through the darkness before speaking again. People spend so much time trying to stay strong, he says quietly, that they forget they are allowed to rest too. You stare out across the field while his words drift through your thoughts. Maybe that really has been true for you. Maybe you became so focused on surviving difficult days that you forgot your heart needed softness too. Needed quiet moments like this where nothing is expected from you. The swing continues moving gently beneath you while stars shine brightly above the peaceful field. Fireflies drift slowly around the tall grass like tiny pieces of light floating through the darkness. And while you sit there beneath the old tree beside Jesus, your tired soul slowly begins remembering what peace truly feels like again tonight. The swing slows little by little until it barely moves at all. The peaceful field around you remains quiet except for the soft sound of wind moving through the tall grass and the distant singing of crickets hidden somewhere beyond the trees. You keep your hands loosely wrapped around the ropes while your eyes slowly wander across the endless stars above you. The night sky somehow looks brighter now than it did earlier tonight. Maybe because your heart has finally become quiet enough to truly notice it. Jesus sits down nearby in the grass beside the lantern while the warm light flickers softly across the field. For a long, peaceful moment, neither of you speaks. And somehow the silence feels comforting instead of empty. Earlier tonight's silence only made your worries louder. But now it feels peaceful enough for your soul to rest inside it. You slowly close your eyes and let the cool breeze brush gently across your face while the swing rocks softly beneath you one last time. Your body feels heavy in the best possible way now. Relaxed, sleepy, safe. Jesus glances toward you with soft understanding before finally speaking again. You were never meant to carry every burden by yourself, he says quietly. But somewhere along the way, you started believing you had to. The words touch something deep inside your chest because maybe they are true. Maybe you spent so much time trying to handle everything alone that you forgot what it felt like to let yourself rest, to let yourself be cared for. You think about all the nights you stayed awake, overthinking problems you could not solve before morning. All the moments you smiled through exhaustion because you felt responsible for staying strong no matter what. Jesus watches the fireflies drifting peacefully across the field while his voice remains calm and gentle. Rest is not weakness, he says softly. Even the strongest hearts need peace. Hearing those words makes your breathing slow even more, because deep down, maybe you have been waiting a very long time for someone to tell you that it is okay to stop carrying everything alone for a little while. The field glows softly beneath the moonlight, while the oak tree above you sways gently in the wind. Fireflies continue floating through the darkness like tiny golden sparks, and the lantern beside Jesus casts warm light across the grass around his feet. Everything feels dreamlike here. Slow, quiet, safe enough for your heart to finally unclench after being tense for far too long. The sadness you walked into the night with no longer feels sharp anymore. It feels distant now, softer somehow, like the peaceful night itself is slowly carrying some of that heaviness away from you. And while you continue sitting there beneath the stars beside Jesus, listening to the gentle sounds of the field around you, your tired soul keeps sinking deeper into the calmness it has been searching for all along tonight. After a while, you slowly step away from the swing while the field remains peaceful beneath the moonlight. Tall grass brushes softly against your legs as you walk beside Jesus once again, leaving the old oak tree and glowing fireflies behind you in the darkness. The lantern sways gently in his hand, while the narrow trail ahead disappears between the trees at the far edge of the field. Your body feels heavier now with sleepiness, but your heart feels lighter than it has in a very long time. The anxious thoughts that usually follow you late into the night are no longer pulling tightly at your chest. Instead, there is only calmness moving quietly through you with every slow breath. The deeper you walk into the trees again, the quieter the world becomes. Moonlight slips softly through the branches overhead, while the smell of fresh rain still lingers gently in the cool night air. Somewhere nearby, you hear water moving softly over rocks. And after a few more peaceful minutes, the trees slowly opened to reveal a small waterfall hidden deep within the forest. Water pours gently down dark stones into a clear pool glowing silver beneath the moonlight. Mist drifts softly through the air while the peaceful sound instantly washes over your tired mind like a calming melody. Jesus walks closer toward the water while the lantern light reflects across the rippling pool beside him. You quietly move next to him and stare at the waterfall while cool mist touches your face. Everything about this hidden place feels untouched by stress, protected somehow from all the heaviness waiting outside the forest tonight. Jesus kneels beside the edge of the pool and lightly touches the water before looking toward you again. People often think healing should happen quickly, he says softly. But most hearts heal slowly, one peaceful moment at a time. You watch the water moving endlessly over the rocks while his words settle deeply into your chest. Maybe that is exactly what tonight has been. Not some sudden perfect change, just your tired soul finally being allowed to rest after carrying too much for too long. The waterfall continues flowing steadily beneath the moonlight while the forest around you grows even quieter. Jesus remains near the water while the lantern flickers softly beside the rocks. You do not have to rush your healing, he says gently. Peace grows slowly like water shaping stone. Hearing those words makes your breathing grow even softer because maybe for the first time in a very long while, you are no longer trying to force yourself to feel okay immediately. Tonight you are simply resting, simply allowing your heart to breathe again beside someone who fully understands every hidden part of your pain. The cool night air moves gently through the trees while moonlight dances across the flowing water, and standing there beside the peaceful waterfall, your soul continues settling deeper into rest with every passing second. The waterfall keeps flowing softly through the quiet forest while tiny drops of mist drift through the cool night air around you. Moonlight reflects across the moving water, creating silver patterns that dance gently over the dark rocks beside the pool. You carefully sit down on a smooth stone near the edge of the water while Jesus remains beside you with the lantern glowing warmly nearby. The peaceful sound of the waterfall fills every part of the silence around you, calming your thoughts even more with every passing moment. It feels impossible to worry here, impossible to carry stress the same way you did before tonight. Everything about this hidden place feels gentle, like the forest itself is protecting your tired heart from the heaviness of the world outside. You pull the blanket slightly tighter around your shoulders while your eyes drift slowly toward the flowing water again. The steady stream over the rocks never rushes, never forces itself forward. It simply moves peacefully through the darkness beneath the stars. Jesus notices you watching the water and smiles softly before speaking again. A heart heals the same way this water moves, he says quietly. Not all at once. Slowly, patiently. His words settle deeply inside your chest while you continue listening to the waterfall. Maybe that is something your heart truly needed to hear tonight. Maybe part of your exhaustion came from expecting yourself to recover too quickly from everything you carried, to stay strong even while your soul quietly felt worn down. Jesus lowers his hand gently into the cool water for a moment before looking back toward you with calm understanding in his eyes. You have survived many heavy nights, he says softly, but survival is not the same thing as peace. Hearing those words makes something emotional stir quietly inside you because you know exactly what he means. Maybe you really have been surviving for too long instead of resting, pushing yourself through difficult days while secretly hoping life would eventually feel lighter again. The waterfall continues flowing while crickets sing softly somewhere deeper in the forest. The peaceful sounds blend together perfectly beneath the midnight sky. Your eyelids feel heavier now, sleepier, but in a comforting way instead of an anxious one. Jesus picks up a small, smooth stone beside the water and places it gently into your hand. The stone feels cool against your skin while the lantern light flickers softly across it. Even stone becomes smooth after enough time in peaceful water, he says quietly. And tired hearts heal the same way. You slowly close your fingers around the stone while those words move gently through your mind. Maybe healing does not need to happen in one perfect moment. Maybe peace arrives quietly, little by little, until one night you finally realize your heart no longer feels as heavy as it once did. The waterfall keeps flowing beneath the moonlight while the forest around you grows deeper and quieter, and sitting there beside Jesus in the peaceful darkness, your tired soul finally begins believing that rest is truly possible tonight. The waterfall keeps flowing beside you while the quiet forest rests peacefully under the stars. Cool mist drifts softly through the night air, touching your skin while the calming sound of water fills every corner of the silence around you. You remain seated on the smooth stone near the edge of the pool, holding the small stone gently in your hand while the lantern beside Jesus glows with warm golden light. Everything feels calm now. Earlier tonight, your thoughts felt heavy and loud, pulling you in every direction at once. But here beside the waterfall, something inside you has finally started slowing down. Your breathing feels softer. Your chest no longer feels tight with pressure. Even your mind feels quieter than it has in a very long time. Jesus sits beside you in peaceful silence while moonlight reflects across the moving water like silver light dancing through the darkness. For a while, neither of you says anything. The quiet itself feels comforting now. Safe, like your heart no longer needs to stay alert anymore. Then, after a long, peaceful moment, Jesus finally speaks softly. There were nights when your heart felt exhausted. He says gently, nights when you wanted rest, but your thoughts would not let you have it. Hearing those words makes something deep inside your chest ache quietly because you remember those nights clearly. Nights when you stared at the ceiling, unable to sleep. Nights when your body felt tired but your mind refused to slow down. Nights when loneliness felt heavier after the world became quiet. Jesus looks toward the waterfall while the lantern flickers softly beside him. But even through all those nights, he says quietly, you kept going. You lower your eyes toward the smooth stone resting in your hand, while emotions move gently through your chest. Maybe your heart really has been carrying too much for too long. Maybe you became so used to surviving that exhaustion started feeling normal. The waterfall continues flowing steadily over the rocks while cool wind moves softly through the trees above. Jesus turns toward you again with calm understanding in his eyes. Your soul does not need another fight tonight, he says softly. It only needs peace. The words settle deeply inside you while your entire body relaxes a little more. Because maybe for the first time in a very long while, you finally believe it is okay to stop carrying everything for a little while. The pressure can wait until tomorrow. The answers can wait. Right now, your tired heart only needs rest. The sadness you carried earlier no longer feels sharp enough to hurt the same way. It feels softer now, more distant. The peaceful sounds around you seem to carry some of that heaviness away little by little. Moonlight shimmers across the water while the lantern glows warmly beside the rocks, and sitting there next to Jesus in the quiet forest, your heart slowly begins letting go of every last restless thought still following you through the night. After a little, while Jesus slowly stands and picks up the lantern again, the warm light moves gently through the darkness while he looks toward you with a peaceful smile that instantly calms your heart even more. Come with me, he says softly. His voice feels gentle enough to quiet every anxious thought still hiding deep inside your mind. You rise slowly and follow beside him while the waterfall fades farther behind you through the trees. The narrow forest path ahead looks beautiful beneath the moonlight. Silver light slips softly through the branches overhead while cool night air brushes gently against your face. Everything feels still now. No noise, no stress, just the peaceful sound of your footsteps beside Jesus while the lantern glows warmly between the trees. The deeper into the forest you walk, the sleepier your body becomes. But it is no longer the painful exhaustion you carried earlier tonight. This feels comforting instead. Soft, like your soul is finally relaxing after staying tense for far too long. After a few quiet minutes, the trees slowly begin opening again, and soon you hear the gentle movement of the lake nearby. The path leads toward the shoreline, where moonlight stretches beautifully across the calm water beneath the stars. A small wooden boat waits quietly beside the dock, moving softly with the waves touching the shore. Jesus walks toward the boat, while cool wind drifts peacefully across the lake. The water looks endless beneath the midnight sky, calm and still like the entire world has finally fallen asleep. Jesus steps carefully into the boat before reaching his hand toward you. You take his hand and step inside beside him while the lantern glows softly near the front of the boat. The gentle rocking instantly makes your body relax even more. Jesus unties the rope from the dock, and slowly the boat begins drifting across the moonlit lake. The world becomes almost completely silent except for the soft sound of water moving beneath the boat. You pull the blanket tighter around your shoulders while looking up at the stars reflected across the lake below. Everything feels peaceful now in a way that almost seems unreal compared to how heavy your heart felt before tonight began. Jesus watches the horizon quietly before speaking once more. Peace does not mean life was always easy, he says softly. It means your heart finally found somewhere safe enough to rest. The words drift gently across the water while the boat continues gliding slowly through the quiet darkness. You stare at the moonlight shimmering beside the boat and feel something deep inside your chest finally grow completely quiet. No fear, no pressure, no sadness chasing you anymore tonight. Just calmness surrounding you from every direction while the boat drifts peacefully beneath the endless stars. The boat moves slowly through the middle of the quiet lake while gentle waves rock beneath you in soft, peaceful motions. The lantern near the front glows warmly against the darkness while cool night air brushes gently across your skin. Above you, thousands of stars stretch endlessly across the sky, reflecting beautifully across the calm water below. Everything feels quiet now, the kind of quiet your soul has needed for a very long time. Earlier tonight, your mind would not stop racing. Every worry felt heavy. Every thought pulled you deeper into exhaustion. But now those worries feel far away, almost like they belong to another life completely. You lean back slightly inside the boat and let out a slow, deep breath while sleepiness settles deeper into your body. Jesus sits quietly across from you while the boat continues drifting through the still water beneath the moonlight. Neither of you speaks for a while. Somehow the silence itself feels healing now. Safe. Like your heart no longer feels afraid of quiet moments anymore. After some time, Jesus looks toward the moonlight reflecting across the lake and speaks softly again. Some people spend years searching for peace, he says quietly. But peace begins the moment the heart understands it does not have to carry every burden alone. His words settle deeply inside your chest while you stare down at the water moving gently beside the boat. Maybe that really was what made your soul feel so tired for so long. Trying to hold everything together by yourself. Trying to stay strong through every lonely night and painful moment without ever truly allowing yourself to rest. Jesus glances toward you again with kindness in his eyes. You do not need to fear tomorrow tonight, he says softly. Morning will come when it comes. Right now your heart only needs sleep. Hearing those words feels like someone gently lifting the final heavy weight from your chest. Because deep down you know he is right. There is nothing left you need to solve before morning. No pressure waiting for you here beneath the stars. Just this peaceful moment floating across still water while your soul finally breathes freely again. The boat continues drifting quietly while the lake shines silver beneath the moonlight. You close your eyes for a moment and simply listen. Water touching the sides of the boat, wind moving softly across the lake, the faint creaking of wood beneath you. Every sound feels softer than the last. Your body relaxes deeper with every passing second while peaceful sleep slowly pulls at the edges of your thoughts. The world feels calm now, safe, and somewhere in the middle of the quiet lake beneath the endless stars, your tired heart finally stops fighting the night and simply allows itself to rest completely. Eventually, the boat drifts toward the far side of the lake where the shoreline rests quietly beneath the trees. The lantern flickers softly while the boat slows beside a small wooden dock hidden within the moonlit darkness. Jesus carefully stands and ties the boat beside the dock before looking toward you with the same calm kindness that has followed you through the entire night. You step out beside him while the wooden boards creak softly beneath your feet. The forest here feels deeply peaceful now. Even the wind has slowed. The lake behind you moves quietly beneath the stars while the whole world seems wrapped in sleep. Jesus begins walking slowly along a narrow trail leading through the trees, and you follow beside him while the lantern glows warmly between the branches. The deeper into the forest you walk, the sleepier your body becomes. Your thoughts drift lazily now instead of racing. The pressure that once felt impossible to escape no longer controls your heart. Soon the trail opens into a small clearing where the cozy cabin waits beneath the tall pine trees. Warm golden light shines softly through the windows, while smoke curls lazily from the chimney into the quiet night sky. The sight instantly fills your chest with comfort. Somehow it feels familiar now. Safe. Like somewhere your soul has been searching for without even realizing it. Jesus quietly opens the cabin door, and warm air spills out into the cool night around you. The fire inside still burns softly in the fireplace while candles flicker gently across the room. Everything looks peaceful exactly the way you left it earlier tonight. You step slowly inside while warmth wraps around your body once again. The exhaustion inside your chest no longer feels painful now. It feels peaceful, like the kind of tiredness that comes right before deep, restful sleep finally arrives. Jesus walks toward the chair near the fireplace and gently places another blanket across it before looking back toward you. Rest now, he says softly. You carried enough for one night. His voice blends gently into the crackling fire, and the quiet wind outside the cabin walls. You slowly sink into the chair while warmth from the fire reaches your face and hands. The blanket feels soft around your shoulders while your eyes struggle to stay open any longer. Jesus sits nearby in peaceful silence while the firelight dances slowly across the room. Outside, the forest rests quietly beneath the stars. Inside, your soul finally feels safe enough to completely let go. No fear, no loneliness, no pressure following you anymore tonight. Just warmth, stillness, peace. Your breathing slows while sleep gently pulls you deeper into comfort beside the glowing fire. The fire crackles softly beside you while the cabin grows quieter with every passing moment. Outside, the forest sleeps peacefully beneath the stars while cool wind brushes gently against the windows. Inside, everything feels warm and calm. The lantern near the fireplace glows softly while shadows move slowly across the wooden walls. You sit curled beneath the blanket with heavy, sleepy eyes, listening to the peaceful sound of the fire while your body relaxes deeper into the chair. Jesus remains nearby in quiet silence, his presence steady and comforting like the calmest part of the night itself. The worries that once filled your chest no longer feel close enough to hurt you here. They seem distant now, small compared to the peace surrounding you. Your breathing grows slower while warmth from the fire settles gently into every tired part of your body. For a few final moments, you look toward the flames dancing softly in the fireplace and realize how different your heart feels now compared to when this night first began. The loneliness feels quieter, the sadness softer, the fear no longer controlling your thoughts. Instead, there is only calmness resting inside your chest where all the heaviness used to live. Jesus looks toward you with gentle understanding before speaking one final time. You are safe here, he says quietly, and you do not have to carry tonight's pain into tomorrow. The words settle deeply into your soul while your eyes finally begin closing completely. Outside, moonlight shines softly across the peaceful lake beyond the trees, while the quiet world rests beneath the midnight sky. Inside the cabin, the fire continues glowing warmly while your tired heart slowly drifts into deep, peaceful sleep beside Jesus. And maybe tonight, for the first time in a very long while, you finally remember that peace was never something you needed to earn. Rest was always meant for your heart, too. So before sleep carries you completely away tonight, allow yourself to fully let go of every heavy thought still trying to follow you. Let the calmness stay with you. Let the warmth stay with you. And if this peaceful story helped your heart feel even a little lighter tonight, then gently take a quiet moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a small comment below telling us where you are listening from tonight. Your message may help another tired soul out there feel a little less alone before sleep finds them too. And now, close your eyes, breathe slowly, relax your heart, and drift peacefully into deep, restful sleep tonight.